The first time I visited New York City was when I was 15 years old. That trip saved my life, as without it, I would have entered into a second wave depression after the pain and abandonment from my first willing sexual experience was creeping up on me. That first trip opened this small town girl's eyes to the dreams of living out her fantasies of being a fabulous writer in Manhattan, just like Sex and the City. Recently, in my life, I've been undergoing a process of sensory evolution. Much like a diamond, each day, new revelations of self emerge deep from the earth of my womb, erupting to the surface, metamorphosing the dark coal-like parts of who I am from dullness to fluorescence. From literally catching on fire to being coddled by the snow, I learned a great lesson on this trip, and I hope you enjoy this virtual journey of that lesson.
He doesn't care.
New York, in 5 minutes, they're both popping out.
Oh my god. Why do you say everybody is popping Molly?
No, I feel like the last few people that I just hang out with like want to pop Molly. No, get away from me. I don't know.
Oh my god. People are turned up in the streets shopping. It feels really good out here. It's not even cold. Today is the perfect night. Yeah, I get to wear my cute dress. Oh my god. No, I'm wearing this coat, and this coat has pockets.
I know you go with the crazy dress with pockets.
We do.
I have 4 sisters. I know that.
You know what the deal is. That is true. A good dress with some good pockets. Anything with pockets. Jumpsuit with pockets. Jacket with pockets. Oh look. Anything with pockets. Another hot dog stand. Oh my god, I think
what tourists are like. Gee, there's so few of them. They're hyped up by hot dog stand.
Oh, because everybody says like New York hot dogs.
You know what? I'm gonna bring you some good food.
Yes, bring me all the food. Show me all the cool spots.
You ever had the falafel?
I'm not a big fan of falafels.
What?
They're weird to me. It's not something that just naturally goes in my mouth. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, right? Like, isn't it like a tortilla thing with balls?
Wow, there are so many moments where I could have said that's what she said during this whole thing you just said. It doesn't go naturally in my mouth. Tortilla thinking with ball. Like, I didn't even know where to go.
Oh my god.
Like, which moment am I stealing here?
I don't
Mommy. Mommy.
I don't like it.
Like, first of all, a grown man calling himself a thought. I don't like he will ruin your life and tell you. Right, yeah, I'm a fucking fool.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's 125th Street. All day, every day. This is the energy you get.
Before, it's like an affirmation walk. Wow.
It is.
Like physical attraction.
Like, if you ever need to be affirmed in your blackness, come to 125th Street. Just make sure your valuables are tucked.
Oh!
For real. And you're aware of your surroundings, but like, you will be affirmed.
Yeah.
On 125th
But it
Street.
comes with the risk.
What's in the price tag? You can get your hair braided if you like.
Come get your hair done.
And I found that attractive.
Jim and Dad. I feel like all the cities have a color. Atlanta to me is brown. Chicago is purple. New York's blue.
To me, it seems like that is more so what you're there for, is kind of to like explore that. So you are still going in. I think it's just not showing up in the way that you anticipated.
Hey, how do I get to the rooftop? I'm on the 10th floor. Oh. Hey. Okay, let's do this. I got my camera. I'm ready to be wowed.
Not too loud.
I said wowed, not loud. Say hello to the camera, Omar.
Instagram?
YouTube.
YouTube?
Yeah.
You say YouTube.
We're up here?
First,
Oh.
let's go this side.
That side?
No, we're going this side. Show you this side first.
Oh, wow! Ooh, those apartments are nice. Look how beautiful it is. Is this our hotel?
No, that's not our hotel. That's
Oh. Wow. Gorgeous. Oh, look at the water over there. Oh my God, look how deep the snow is. Look at that! Omar, the electrician at the hotel, gave me a secret tour to the rooftop. Because it's closed because of the snow. Oh my God, I love it. Okay, wait. Going to the other side now? Okay. Oh, thank you. All right, let's go.
Kick your boots. Kick your boots like one.
Got it. Yes. Oh, it's so swanky up here. Oh, it's so nice. I'm so sad it's closed. Why do they have it closed? It makes no sense.
And then you have this side. This side, you can't leave right here.
Oh my God. I'm so dumb. I should have came to the rooftop the other day. But now I get a special tour from you.
This is the last side.
Oh, it's so cool. Were these your feet? When you're out here reading your book? Oh my God, look. Thank you so much for my little tour, Omar. I really appreciate it. This is so special. Wow. This is just beautiful. Okay, let's get a picture really quick. One together and then one of me. Okay, quick recap of the trip because I'm about to check out in about 30 minutes. Probably gonna talk to you guys for about 5 and then
pack up and head out and head to the airport. I'm so ready to go home, let me tell you. Oh my God, guys. Beyond ready to go home. But listening to Meg Thee Stallion this morning really just helped me and really just centered me. I know it sounds funny, but it really did. Recently in my life, this year, I have been embarking on a new sensuality journey. Just really really exploring my sensuality in new ways. I've always been a very sensual woman. I've always been very in tuned with my senses, with my sensuality, with my sexuality, very in tune with it, meaning I have a relationship with it, a bond with it, a communication with it, an understanding of it. And through that journey, I have been discovering so many new things about myself and even just about sensuality. Being a sensory stimulated person, there's just ways that I do things that the normal person just doesn't do. And through conversation, through exploring my sensuality on a new level, and then conversation with other people, I realized that I actually have something to offer people. I actually have something. Oh, excuse my son. I actually have something that people could actually benefit from to enhance their day-to-day lives. Hence, why I came to New York City. I came to New York City to celebrate with friends, but then I also extended my stay so that way I could write my first book about sensual self-care. So anyway, what I thought this trip would be a nice, quiet, beautiful, just a writer in a small hotel room with a window viewing the city, some snow, some hot cocoa, some hot tea, a computer, and words on the page. And I was like, I'm going to commit myself to just doing that, just staying in the room. I'll buy some snacks and just, save money on that. I just really wanted to be somewhere new. So I thought that I was going to have this beautiful, luxury, calm, comforting experience. And it's been a vacation. When you go on vacation, you think it's going to be super calm, but then there's complications and things that you just couldn't foresee. Particularly the things that I couldn't foresee. They weren't huge things. My trip was still pretty smooth. I think I handled it well, being on my own out here. But they were things that were sacrificing the main reason why I was out here. So number one, the heater in the very first place I stayed at. I stayed at a more expensive place first night just for the experience, just to indulge, right? And it was a horrible experience. We're not about to show you the outfit because my outfit's gone. I'm about to go to bed, but here's the shower. Actually smells a little bit like shit. I keep getting a whiff of shit. I will say, guys, the bed is very uncomfortable. So uncomfortable. Most uncomfortable bed I've ever sat on in my life. Has springs sticking up out of it. It's so bad. I do not recommend. If you're trying to be comfortable, the view is okay, but I would never sacrifice the bed for the view. That's the Empire State Building right there. Definitely feels like a simulation. Definitely doesn't feel real. You definitely know, wow, look at how many, people alone live in there. And just this one building. And I'm just one person. The stay in this hotel room was just a very weird experience, all in all. Part one of the lessons that I've learned here was when I got here, I left my girlfriends, and this was my first night alone in the city. And I really didn't want to call anyone and tell anyone about what I'm doing. But for whatever reason, I went against my intuition and gave one of my girlfriends a call. And we ended up talking for a long period of time, which ate up my time that I had to spend in the hotel. And I don't want to attribute that energy to the faultiness of the heater system in this hotel room, of which I had to call at about 5 o'clock in the morning to get a personalized heater from the office. But I will say that I had to listen to myself. So not great, but it was
all glass. It looked cool, but it wasn't. It was horrible. So then there was that. And then when I came here to this hotel that I stayed at, it was much better looking, really cool. But the heater also in my first room broke. It was leaking. And I think that it was also emitting some kind of gases because I was feeling very sick. I couldn't focus. I was feeling faint. So I was just very faint. I felt super sick. And then I also started my period. And this was a really heavy period, more heavier than normal.
Fight to someone else for now. You can close your eyes.
Hey guys. Hey Clarice in the future. I'm here, and like I was saying, I feel like I just wasted my time in this. So I was feeling really emotional. You guys, why was there some man watching me get dressed? Why was this man just watching me get dressed? Well, I would too. I look good. Okay, I'm gonna change my bra. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Oh, yes. Okay, so I was feeling really sad last night and this morning, and I just didn't even know what to do with myself. And, so I just allowed myself to kind of just sit there versus getting my laptop out and writing, which is what I came here to do, or deciding to create content or any of that. I just didn't have it in me. And so I allowed myself to be lazy and kind of just lay around. Then I ordered breakfast, and that was kind of good, but I didn't eat it all. Lost my appetite, and so I'm kind of like, what's going on? And so, when I went downstairs to actually grab my food, I had to use the restroom. When I used the restroom, I found out that I was on my period, right? And it was like the gray skies outside cleared, the sun came out for a bit, it stopped raining, because it was like I had the understanding that my body was actually going through something. My body is actually going through the process of purging out all of the stuff that no longer serves me and getting it all out. And there's a lot of other things going on, like a solar eclipse is, I think, happening today. And I'm also, this is the first day on my period, and I'm also in a new city by myself. So it was just so much emotion, and I think it was my first time that I was alone in the city because I had just left my friends. So it was just an explosion of emotion and reality checks just really dawning on me. And it all made sense, and I was able to have peace in it. It didn't go away. I still felt the same things. But what it did do for me was bring peace, because peace doesn't mean that everything is perfect. Peace just brings understanding and clarity to why things are the way they are, and acceptance with it. And the reason why I had the peace was simply because of the fact that I understood that I was going through my period, that I was having my period, and that I needed to allow myself to have that time versus feel bad for not producing or not doing certain things. And so I think it's really important for us women to honor our periods and to give ourselves that time to do whatever it is that we need in the moment. What is our body telling us? Because when we're going through our periods, it's not just a yoni thing, but it's a uterus thing. It's also a mindset thing. It's a whole body thing. Everything has to come into alignment. It's a blood thing, and the blood is all throughout my entire body. So I have to honor what is it that my body needs in this moment. And for me, what my body needed was to really rest and to do nothing. And I feel like even being on Instagram was too much, and I was doing that, and that was overwhelming me. So I'm glad that I allowed myself to do that. And yeah, so I just hope that it encourages you to honor yourself during your period and not force yourself to do stuff that you just simply can't, because we just think that we stick a pad on and we just keep moving, but it's so much more than that. It's so much more going on in our entire bodies. Our entire beings are purging. Our blood is coming out. That means all of the blood has to be in communication of which blood stays, which blood goes, right? So that is a vigorous process, and it's basically surgery. So we have to allow ourselves to go under the knife and to undergo that process peacefully and not feel bad for it, but feel grateful that our bodies are working the way that they're intended to. All this talk about periods, I also just really want to bring home the point that periods don't have to be an ugly experience. It also doesn't mean that we have to look like bums or that we have to look crazy, that we have to look ugly. You can still look and feel sexy and beautiful and attractive and sensual and good while you're on your period. And so I say that to show you off these panties that I got on right now. These are Yoni Talks period panties. They sent me this package. If you want to know more about all the stuff that they sent me, you can actually go to my IGTV video that I made for them. You can see that in the link below. But anyway, I love these period panties because look at how cute they are. Like, who even knew that period panties was a thing? Like, I didn't even know that. But anyway, my point to show you guys my period panties and to put my booty on the internet is to show you guys that we can still be bomb on our periods and still feel good. And I feel like once I found out that I was on my period, I felt so much better. Like, if you would have saw me earlier, I'll show you a picture of how I looked earlier versus right now. But once I found out that I was on my period, then I actually had joy. So anyway, I really have to get out of this hotel. I have like 10 minutes, but I just really wanted to bring that home to you guys and just, I don't know, change the narrative around our periods. Take a picture. I challenge you to take a picture of you in your period panties. These actually have a pad on them in the period panty. Like, that's what they are. They're panties. Like, actually has a pad in it. You don't even need to wear another pad. You just put it in the washing machine. So I challenge you guys, whether you have a pad or not, I'm going to take these off and show you. If whether you have a pad on or not, right? You could wear the period panty, or you could wear a regular panty with a pad on it. But I challenge you to take a picture in your period panties and post it, because we're still sexy whether we're bleeding or not. So that's all I have to say. I came here for a reason, but I think the reason that the things aligned for me to come here was to teach me a lesson about materialism. I thought that I had got it all out when I moved out of my apartment and moved back home. But I think a new fire has reignited in me this year. And I think it's a sensuality factor. And so because of that, I'm like really interested in amplifying all of my experiences to be as, pleasurable and luxurious and beautiful and mindful and just pleasant as possible. And so I think that I was focusing on the wrong senses. I was focusing on, the outward as the material, not the outward as an atmosphere, which I think is much more important. Because it's like, yes, really nice things have may seem to have a high vibration, but it's the atmosphere, it's the energy that this space is in, that this space exudes, that's way more important than what it actually looks like, because that's materialistic, that's shallow. And just like we could see through shallow people, okay, we can see through shallow, flashy things. So, for example, this place looks so nice, but it's freezing cold, okay? What good is that to anyone? It's not, but, right? So this is not as cozy as I expected it to be. But it was also a really cheap price. It was only $69 a night, so there's that. But, so anyway, I think that the biggest lesson that I learned and was supposed to learn was this the last bit of residue about materialism. So I think the way that I'm going to move forward approaching my surroundings is going to be a lot more intentional. It's not just about the look. It's about the atmosphere. What does it make you feel? Like when I came in this room, I did not feel good. I didn't feel good. I did not feel good about it. And I wanted to ask for another room, but I didn't because I was like, oh, the number. Like, girl, are you going to listen to what someone has to say on the internet about a number, or are you going to listen to your intuition? Right? And I didn't. And there's lots of moments where I didn't listen to my intuition. Like before I came on the trip, another thing that crazy happened was I went to the bank to deposit some money, but there was this one bank in my hometown that my brother went to that there was like some fraud that happened to him because he used the ATM machine. And so I went to use the ATM machine, but my heart was telling me, it was like my gut, my intuition, they were all telling me, do not go to this place because remember, with your brother, like, it's not safe. And I'm like, oh, well, that's, he was taking money out. Like, I'll be safe. I'll cover my number, blah, blah, blah. And, like, as soon as I did it, I had this horrible pit in my stomach. I felt like my account information was going to be compromised. I wanted to take pictures of the person behind me. I wanted to take pictures of their place, and I didn't do it because I was like, oh, you're just overreacting. But I didn't listen to my intuition in that moment. What happened, guys? What happened? My account actually got hacked. I'm not sure if it was that from the ATM or it was, I also suspect that it was a woman at the eyebrow place because she was all up in my information when I was setting up my Apple Pay. I think it was her. I'm like 80% sure it was her. If not, it had to be that bank. But either way, like, I felt that if I did this action, I was going to get this outcome. And I went against that, and I got that outcome. Whether or not it was that place or not, whatever, I think I'm learning the lesson to truly listen to my intuition, like, even on the smallest of levels, even when it seems silly. So that's also another element of sensuality that people don't realize is listening to our sixth sense. That's also our sense. It's this feeling that we get, this inkling. It's this notification. It's this what I call in the book a signal. When we get these signals, we have to listen to them. And that's why we have those moments where we're like, oh, I knew it. And it feels good to say I knew it, but it feels so much better to say I knew it and I'm glad that I listened, versus, like those are two different realities that we can live in. And I just feel like, wow, what a better, life that we could live, that I could live if I would just listen to myself every moment. So I think moving forward, I'm definitely going to start listening to myself 100%. Even when it seems weird, I'm just, because, either way it's a choice and either way it's a risk. When you feel some way but you don't do it, it's like, or you could do it and be like, okay, my body told me to do this, so I trust myself. If I can't trust anybody else in the world, like, I know that I can trust myself. If you can't trust yourself, you've got some work to do, but for the most part, like, you know that you can trust yourself. So yeah. I had this one experience of which I think I may share with you guys. I may or may not share with you guys, or you may already know. I may have posted the video to my Instagram. The whole thing was on fire. The whole thing was on fire. You can't see my hands, but this is me attempting to heal myself after experiencing a type of pain with my sense of touch that I don't think I've ever experienced before at that type of magnitude, which is touching fire with my bare hands. I know you're probably wondering what happened, how did we get here, where's the fire? So here's the story in short. This is a day before my departure to California from New York City. Last day in my hotel. And that night, I went to sleep. And before I went to bed, I had this small candle. And
it was burning, and I thought since it was the last night, since it was cold because the heater wasn't working, I should let it burn out while I sleep. But my intuition, my spirit, God literally told me, simply just blow it out. But I rationalized. I was like, I'm in the bed already. It's the last night. I'm just going to let it burn out. So I doze off to sleep, and I can just hear this loud crackling noise. And even with my eyes shut, I could still see this bright light that wasn't the sun, but felt like the sun. And I opened my eyes to look at the desk where the candle was burning, and it went from a small candle to a 3-foot raging fire. The fire was encompassing the entire candle from all directions, and it was just fire just running up towards the ceiling about 3 feet high. And the desk beneath the candle was cracking and bending and warping, hence the crackling noise that I was hearing, aside from the crackling of the fire. And so very calmly but swiftly, I get out of the bed, and quickly I just grabbed the fireball with my bare hands, and I throw it into the sink. Now, when I threw it into the sink, all of the soot from the candle, as well as from the incense that I burned by sticking into the candle, you can keep your comments on how dangerous that is later. But all of the soot, the wax from the candle, from the incense, just smeared all over into the sink. What happened was, when all of this smeared into the sink, that you'll see in a moment, everywhere that the soot and the wax was, the fire was accompanying it, and the entire sink turned into flames. As you can see here, where you see where all that black soot, wax, and all of that is, you could just imagine that there was fire raging from those spots. So quickly, I turned on the faucet to turn the water on, thinking it would extinguish this fire. But instead, it only strengthened it. And it strengthened it so much that at that point was when the fire alarm for the hotel started to beep, beep, beep. The fire got so big and so strong, and the fire alarm so loud, that at that moment I knew that there was nothing else that I could do. Threw my hands up, and I looked up to God. And in that moment, I surrendered with my body. I didn't say anything. I just surrendered, just let go. And like that, as if nothing ever happened, as if there was no fire, as if there was no fire alarm, everything, the fire alarm stopped. It just stopped. And in that moment, I knew that I was being taught a lesson, to listen to my intuition. This trip was it was a trip. It was an experience for sure. But I'm ready to go home. So excited. It's 11:40. So now I'm going to pack up and head home. Yeah, I'm ready. Ready to go. Also, I think I decided that I don't know. I don't think I want to live here either. I think that I am learning the lesson of materialism to really let go of it 100%. I think I want to live out in the wild. I want to live in the forest somewhere where there are just trees and fresh air, where I can do yoga, where I don't feel so cramped or pressured to look a certain way, to dress a certain way. I can just be comfortable and organic in myself.